All right, so in this video, I'm going to be going over compensation structure for appointment setters and SDRs. Usually what happens is people want to improve their sales. Maybe they have a couple leads coming in. Maybe they just want more from that lead generation front, or maybe they want to remove themselves from that sales aspect. So they want to hire an SDR or outsourced salesperson. What happens is a lot of people just rush into this. They don't actually sit through and think about the compensation. They kind of just throw some numbers on the board and move forward, put up a job post, and hope that they attract the right types of candidates. In this video, there's 5 different ways you can structure compensation. I'm going to go over 2 ways that you should not and 3 ways that we've seen success with. So the very first way you could structure compensation for appointment setters or SDRs is commission only. Usually this doesn't work when hiring from outsourced countries, hiring in Latin America, Central Europe, Eastern Europe, those types of places. This isn't going to be a favorable compensation structure, and here's why. In the States, it works depending on your ticket price, but it doesn't really work when you're trying to hire 1 or 2 reps. Churn is very, very high for commission-only reps. You need to have kind of this perfect scenario for your lead flow, for your actual offer, where someone could come in and make a living based off of just commissions only. So the ticket price has to be high enough that they could support themselves on a couple different closes or being able to hit those metrics. They could support themselves, but it can't be too high where you're not making money as that business owner. If you have a very inconsistent lead flow, if you have, a business that's not quite proven with the metrics and you don't have actual KPIs you want to hit, commission only is not the way that you want to do it. If you're bringing in a team of 5 to 10 people and you're just kind of having them battle it out, commission only can be a way that you can go. But I've been in several organizations as a commission only rep. That's where my background is from. And it's really worked for the top 30, 40% of reps, but there's always going to be that drop off. And so you're going to have to constantly be bringing in more reps to push those continual SDRs up and make them perform even at a higher rate. And it's just something that unless you have that manpower to be able to kind of retrain and constantly bring on new people, it's not going to be that right fit. Also, when we hire from these locations of Central Europe, Eastern Europe, Latin America, what happens is people are used to the agency owner coming in and saying, hey, I've got this new opportunity to sell my SEO packages or whatever it may be at $3K a month. That goes really far in Latin America. It's commission only, right? And that's not actually very attractive to someone, right? The thing that happens is the agency owner or business owner doesn't want to take any risk at all. They're just like, I can get this person in to come in and do all the work and make my agency grow. They get to a point where they're at 10, 15K, maybe 20K a month. They're like, I'm going to remove myself from sales now. I have someone hired for operations. I'm going to just remove myself from sales, and then my agency is going to magically scale. This is the wrong move. What you want to do is, as the founders, you want to stay inside of sales and actually prove out that sales process. I've had people come to me to hire sales reps, and they say, oh, I want to do commission only. That's what we can afford. And unfortunately, they're not the right person for us to work with because they're trying to go this route of saving extreme money and taking zero risk. They have zero skin in the game. So why would a true A player want to come work for them if they're not actually going to be committed? That's why this compensation structure of zero base and just being commission only doesn't really work when you're doing that outsourced method. So it's not something that we'd actually want to utilize. The second way you could structure compensation is an hourly base. I don't recommend this, basically because it attracts people who have zero incentive to do really anything. If you just get paid $1,000 to make calls and to follow up on leads and try to make sales, there's not really that much incentive to continually do your job. You're already getting paid, so there's not incentive to actually work the leads. You're just kind of going through the motions. This isn't really the right fit for any types of sales structures. I haven't seen this work successfully. The 0%, the zero base and plus commission or just commission only, I've seen work at certain organizations, but everything kind of has to be right for it to work. They have to have, that training, that ability to onboard several reps and really gamify the system for it to work. With this hourly base, it just doesn't work. The third way that you can structure compensation, and it's a pretty successful way to actually do this, is a base plus commission. So let's say we're hiring from a place like Argentina or Colombia, throw up a base of $850 to $1,000, then plus have a commission. It shows to candidates that you have skin in the game. They're going to have their basic needs met. They can make rent. They can make all those kind of basic expenses. And then they still have a commission structure that incentivizes them to work and hit goals and make the money that they want to make. When you're structuring any type of commission, it really depends on your ticket price and the lead flow that you're seeing and the actual numbers that someone could hit if they came into your company. If you had a commission on a product, let's say your product is $1,500 and the commission's 30%. So let's say that's 500, right? That's a little bit high. But if there's actually no ability to actually hit that, then it doesn't matter what the commission is, even if it's super high. If no one can actually be successful and there's not like a proven method, they're not going to actually be successful. So before you hire someone, you need to do a little bit of math. You need to actually prove that process yourself before you bring in some sort of sales rep to do the volume for you. You want to already be successful with lead gen, have some cold lead gen things up. Maybe it's cold email, maybe it's cold LinkedIn outreach, maybe you have some inbound coming from your socials or referrals. Then hire a sales rep because they can put volume on top of those existing lead sources. You don't want to just hire someone as a sales rep to just come save your company if you have zero lead flow. That's not going to end well for you. You're going to just waste your time and money, and the person who comes is going to churn because they're going to realize, wow, this is actually just a dying business, and my boss is very, very anxious and angry if I don't hit all the targets, right? And so that's something that you don't really want to be in that scenario where you haven't actually thought about the numbers. This is super successful. This is often, a route that most of our clients go down, where it's this $1,000 base and some sort of commission. It really depends on the numbers and the ticket price of your business, but it's something that works very, very. Moving on from number 3 is number 4. So we still have that $850 to $1,000 base. Now we're paying per showed appointment. We want to pay per show, not per appointment, because if you have a incentive where you're paying per appointment, what's going to happen is that rep's going to get in there and book 100 different appointments, and they're not actually going to be qualified, or they're not actually going to show up, wasting the rep's time. They're going to feel like they're grinding a lot. Wow, none of these leads are actually good, and so it's a waste of time for all parties involved. I'd much rather have my sales rep book 10 people, 5 of them show, versus them booking 100 people and 2 show, right? That's a waste of time for everyone. So that's why you want to have money per showed appointment in comparison to just money per set. So number 4 is something that's great as well. Now, let's say you have a business where you don't really know some of the numbers. You're still trying to test out a lead gen method. You need someone to kind of test this process for you. You're not sure of what the compensation should be. You're not sure, what type of success you're going to see with this new cold email campaign. Maybe it's a LinkedIn outbound campaign. Whatever it is, this is the way you should structure compensation. Now, pay them for an activity. So we're going to notice that there's 3 activities here, and then a bonus for cash collected. So payment for the number of messages sent. Let's say they need to send 75 messages a day. If they hit that every day for the month, they're going to get a bonus here. Let's call it something like $500, right? Let's say 500. Pretty poor writing there. But then we have payment for number of calls made, another activity incentive. So they're actually just doing the activities. This will allow you to see, okay, is this number of activities actually successful? And they'll get compensated still for actually just hitting those numbers of activity. So it's another 500, totaling 1,000. It's kind of like their base compared to the other ones here. Some great artistry skills here. And then paid for number of sets. So this is where they're compensated for those sets of appointments. It should be appointments or sets that actually show instead of just sets, due to the phenomenon of reps just booking 1,000 meetings and then not showing and it wasting everyone's time. And so this should be showed sets. You can put some sort of bonus. Let's say it's $250. Now they're up to $1,250 if they actually just do their job and hit that activity metrics. And then a big bonus for cash collected, right? So let's say they send 75 messages a day. They make 50 calls a day. They do that the whole month. They're getting that bonus, or they're getting that base basically of $1,000 US, $250 for sets. They set 25 appointments, and then cash collected. Let's say they collect 10K, and that was that was what you wanted them to do. You could give them a big bonus for this. Maybe it's 250, maybe it's 500 to incentivize them to keep working and hitting that cash collected bonus, or keep hitting that revenue goal. This is a good way to structure the compensations. If you really don't know some of the numbers, maybe you're testing out something that's new, this is a method for doing that, because you're going to get the numbers, you're going to get what is capable of a human being doing the work, and you're going to figure out, okay, if I send 100 messages each day and I make 100 calls each day, we're going to get this amount of appointments, we're going to get this amount of cash collected, and you can rinse and repeat that and refine that process and scale that way. So if you don't know your numbers, this is a really good compensation structure. These other ones are great. If you already know your numbers, you just need an appointment setter to come in and do the work. You already know kind of your business, all the numbers, the metrics, and it's already successful. Use 3 or 4. If you're still kind of testing things out, maybe you're a little bit newer, do compensation structure 5. So hopefully this video has been helpful in breaking down the different compensation structures for appointment setters and SDRs. If you're looking for outsourced talent from Central Europe, Eastern Europe, or Latin America, let us know, book a call in the link in the description, and we'd be happy to chat. Thanks.